The city's alive. Clock strikes 12. We're ready to dive down the street where the neon hums. Our little escape. The workday succumbs. Tables wait. The bar's got that swing. Glasses clink. Hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch. Pour it smooth. Let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass. Let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch. We're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin. Telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey. He's loosening his tie. Chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us. He's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Nava salut and welcome. Good to see every single one of you. Yep, it is Tuesday. 2 Martini Tuesday. Yes. Man, I don't know about you, but and I know you guys are all over the place. Some of you are in warmer climates than I am. I am in the Midwest, Chicagoland area. So it's starting to cool down. And when it starts to cool down, at least for me personally, Netter calls me a bear. And I am a lot like a bear. I focus more on food because we're coming up on the holiday season. And I just want to sleep. And it is so hard to wake up in the mornings when it's autumn time and it's cooler out. And I just want to curl up and... Whew, but let's get going. Let's get into it. Here's somebody who I bet knows exactly what I'm talking about, even though he's in a bit warmer climate than I am. Big Al of Big Al Presents says, ready for some Tuesday thoughts? Liquid Lunchers. Have a great show, Troy, and hope everyone is enjoying the day. Also an interesting tasting history today, mentioning the liqueurs and wine in Dracula. I'll have to check that out. That sounds very, very interesting. You know, it's a shame because Max Miller was getting ready to, he started, and look, I do this too. I start like a plan to do a series of shows or a new program or whatever, and I get 2-3 into it, and then I stop. I get focused on other stuff. He did the same thing. He was going to start drinking history. And he did like, I don't know, 3-4 of them and then kind of stopped. He still from time to time talks about drinks, but it's just become part of his tasting history, which is fine. But I would have loved it if he would have continued with that whole parallel show, but I'll have to check that out. I haven't had a chance today. I haven't even had a chance to watch Culture Casino today, although I did catch a tiny portion of WDW Pro today. And unless one of you guys brings it up, maybe we'll get to it. A bit of a news article we'll be talking about on Sunday. That's very, very thought-provoking. Fluff Chick Productions. Make sure you are subscribed to the Bird Woman of YouTube, otherwise known as Connie Cleary. So make sure you follow both of those channels. She is good people to have around. She really is. As is Jonathan Conroy, who comes in to say, hail all, smash the like button, and enjoy the show, which I truly, truly hope you do. Curtis Selby. It's lunchtime for Curtis, and it is lunchtime for us, so let's share our lunch, my friend. Netter, the love of my life, stopping in. I know she's very, very busy today, but she makes time for us. She asks us to like, share, subscribe, become a member, leave a comment, gift a membership if you are feeling so inclined and so generous. That would certainly be appreciated, because I've got a membership drive going on. For as little as $1.99 a month, it gives you, among so many other benefits of membership, it gives you access to the Members Night at the Movies. Every Monday night, Monday's Member Night at the Movies, where you get to choose what movie we will be watching. There is a poll up right now to choose the Halloween week Members Night at the movie. It is, there are 3 choices, all starting with T, that are all scary Halloween movies that were suggested by the viewers of last night's Members Night at the Movies. Gifted memberships are also very welcome. Help Last Call reach 100 members and 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Yes, please. I would greatly appreciate that. Been under a rock and will be underneath more rocks as I study naturopathy, kinesiology, and Chinese medicine. Topping all that off with medical billing and coding. Wow. So both ends of it. So the homeopathy and the bureaucratic Western medicine, right? My gosh. Love to hear more about that, especially if you do some videos about that. I'm very, very interested in those topics. I do intend to put up something about my time at the Retro Gaming Expo. Looking forward to that as well. Good. So make sure you are following Lester's Skeptic Tank Obsessions. VIP member here, and someone who is greatly appreciated. JPRPH1 says, hi, folks, dropping the membership emojis. That's another perk of being a member. And, well, just a perk of being here and hanging out with me is it is Tuesday, so I want to hear what you all are talking about and thinking about and ruminating on. Mondays, you come in and you hear what I've been thinking about, but Tuesdays, we come in and you guys can direct the conversation. What have you been seeing in the geekosphere, in pop culture news, that is of interest to you, that you've been thinking about, that you've been speculating about, that you think I might not know about? Because maybe there's an article that I need to send to Boomer for Sunday night. While you guys are considering that, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and jump to the share screen and bring up one that I saw today over on WDW Pro. I thought you would have a good counterpart to the horror movie gaming scene panel I attended at the expo. Well, sure. Tell me about that. And, I'd be happy to comment on that. We covered a number of games on NES. Yeah, absolutely. So let me share my screen with you. Nope. I want to share my screen, not a file. Share. Full screen. Don't need sound. Just bring it on up. And so, yeah, it looks like Warner Brothers Discovery is for sale after all, as multiple parties circle. So we talked about this a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Time kind of flies on Geeky Geezers. We try to stay away from rumors and suppositions and speculations, but we did mention that there was talk about the possibility of Warner Brothers being sold. And why did we even bother with speculation was because there was a lot of buzz about it. A lot of people were talking about it. So we felt like we should get our 2 cents in on it. And what does it mean for, the Warner Brothers franchises, right? The whole DC universe and DC Comics. A lot of speculation there. We brought you an article about how Ultimate, is it not Ultimate? They're not calling it Ultimate. That's Marvel's. Whatever the new DC line is that they're doing, outrageous or insane or whatever it is, that version of Batman choking out an immigration officer, just more infusion of all the politics into DC Comics. And this is even after Zaslav had said a long time ago, we need to make DC and Superman and Batman and whatnot the cornerstones of this, their pillars, and get away from political stuff. And the problem is he said the right thing, but he's clearly not involved. He doesn't pay attention, so he doesn't know when the people working for him go, yeah, whatever, and continue doing whatever it is they're doing. Welcome, ussarn. Good to see you. But let's get into this and see what this could mean for Zaslav and folks. Oh, and for YouTubers out there that are in our YouTube sphere, little pro tip. I keep mentioning this to you guys all the time. Actually, I better think about how I'm going to share this without getting into real trouble. There are distractions that happen during live streams. Because you are sharing content from the internet and you get little distractions in the middle of sharing. So you might want to use a tool to prevent things from interrupting you. I've mentioned it many times before. I've shared links to it. Can't do that here. Can't do that now. But if you follow me on MeWe, link in the description below, I will do that. I'll pin it. I'll make it a pinned thing. You should be doing that, having that little tool in your browser, so that you can prevent distractions, remove them from your screen. Just saying, and you don't miss nothing. Real quick, want to say hi to Dean Krantz, who says, I will offer 4 tons of cow manure for DC Comics. That's right, and that will absolutely get you into the news cycle as even if it's virtual cow poop, because that's outrageous and that is apparently tantamount to assault, even if it is AI generated. So now what you do in virtual tongue-in-cheek comedy is considered to be an actual assault. But let's get into this a little bit. The board of directors is also considering other strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value. And I think that probably underscores what I was going to talk about in regards to this. Between all the sales, the pivots, and so forth, we see not a major change of mindset. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, the woke is dead. The woke is dead." You know, but we see whatever the other side of the woke is, the sensible center, waking up and saying, "Okay, enough of this bull crap." And now the gears are starting to grind, where they're saying, "No, no more of this. No more." There's pushback. There's pushback, and these companies are starting to realize that. Some of them really have. They, you know, whether it's the whole situation with Cracker Barrel, and okay, no, we're not going to change the logo. We're not going to change the interiors anymore. We're going to return all the interiors that we did change. Right? And for those of you asking why that CEO hasn't been fired, wait, because now we see that there is a board of directors fight going on. And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. There are elements that don't want things to change. There are other elements that do want things to change. And there is that dynamic going on. The pendulum doesn't always swing automatically. But here is a perfect example where the board of directors is saying, "Hey, this just can't stand." And I'll bet you a big part of it, I mean, there's a lot of other things. Let's face it, DC isn't the be-all, end-all of Warner Brothers. But I have to believe that the buzz around Superman, the buzz around Peacemaker, the lack of views of Peacemaker, the negative press about Peacemaker, the commentaries by people like us in the blogosphere, and especially the financial loss that we talked about related to Superman. Were we talking about that yesterday? Did I slept since then, so I forgot. But yeah, we were talking about the fact that they probably lost money. They probably didn't even break even on that. And so James Gunn, if he wants to keep his job, maybe better get his head out of his ass and out of his friends' asses, and start humbling out and start making the movies that the fans want to see instead of the perverted bull crap that he wants to see. Just saying. Sounds like Warner Brothers Discovery is for sale after all. Okay, so it sounds like a confirmation. Amid swirling reports of bidding interest by Paramount Global, the WBD board, that's Warner Brothers Discovery Board, of directors says, that could be it is. I don't know. I never trust what I read anymore because they don't edit anything anymore. Has initiated a review of strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value. Let's try that one again because that's a lot of corporate speak. Has initiated a review of strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder values. Here's my translation of that. We're losing money. We need to rethink our strategy. Gee, ya think? Yeah, Tom King needs to disappear. The Democrats just had the left wingers, the socialists just had their big weekend no kings rally. Well, I think that should be applied to this particular king. After his Batman run and collaboration on Superman, that can be his new position. Yeah, get rid of Tom King. Done with him. That needs to be part of their strategic alternative to maximize shareholder value. That's the first acknowledgement of a metaphorical for sale sign hanging from the iconic Warner Brothers water tower. In a press release, and I hope, all I can say is I hope that if Warner Brothers does sell, that the new owners, don't put the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister Dot out of that water tower. Okay? Let them continue to live there. That's what I'm asking. In a press release on Tuesday morning, the Warner Brothers Discovery Board of Directors said it has received unsolicited interest from multiple parties, and it's listening. That's some more corporate speak. So let me unravel that for you. We didn't say we were for sale, but we received unsolicited, interest and offers, and so we decided we're gonna entertain them. It would be like I don't have my house on the market, but a realtor stops by and says, "Did you know your house is worth $300,000? And we'd be willing to pay you cash for that." Well, I wasn't thinking about moving, but let me think about that. That's when you start reaching out to other real estate and say, "Hey, someone came and made me an offer. What would you offer me for my house?" And then you go with whoever's offering you the most. If you're interested in selling. If they're entertaining, they're thinking about it. That means they're thinking about it. Strategic options include continuing with the previously announced split and spin a la NBC Universal and Versant, a transaction for the entire company, or separate transactions for its Warner Brothers and or Discovery Global business. So in other words, Warner Brothers and Discovery came together to become Warner Discovery, and they're considering the possibility of splitting it up again. It kind of makes you wonder what thought process goes into acquisitions and divergence. If you acquired Discovery, what was it you were trying to get out of it? And why didn't you fully integrate the two companies? You could say the same thing about 20th Century Fox and Disney. Disney has done a piss poor job of integrating. It was like all they cared about was Lucasfilm and the Marvel properties that 20th Century Fox had distribution rights on, and that was it. And then everything else they just sat on. Well, that's not entirely true, because there was the Hulu had value to them, and there was other interests. But I'm using that stuff as an example. And then there's a bunch of stuff that's just sat on the shelf. These business people operating with other people's money, they just don't deserve it. They just don't know what they're doing. They really don't. Let's see. There is even a potential for an alternative separation structure that would enable a merger of Warner Brothers and spin-off of Discovery Global to our shareholders. Basically, it's all on the table. If it's all on the table, that tells me that there's a lot of trouble going on at Warner Brothers, more than they are letting on. We continue to make important strides to position our business to succeed in today's evolving media landscape by advancing our strategic initiatives. that means nothing. That means we don't know what we're doing, and we need to rethink. Because, returning our studio to industry leadership and scaling HBO Max globally. David Zaslav, the president and CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, said in a statement, "We took the bold step of preparing to separate the company into two distinct leading media companies, Warner Brothers and Discovery Global, because we strongly believe this was the best path forward." Really? Then why did you acquire and merge them in the first place, you dumbass? You know? Earlier this month, Bloomberg reported that, and I'll give a partial answer to that. You acquire it because you want them, you want their revenue, you want whatever they got, right? Because if it belongs to someone else, you don't benefit from that. So you do want to acquire it. But if you want to keep them separate, keep them separate. Don't integrate them. Keep it as a separate entity, a separate holding. You could have had Discovery continue as its own entity, you know, Discovery, a Warner Brothers company, you know? So it would just continue to do its thing. It could have had the Discovery logo and just in little letters underneath it, a Warner Brothers company. And Warner Brothers could continue to do its Warner Brothers thing. But no, you decided to integrate the two together. Warner Discovery. And now you have to separate them again because you're realizing it's not working out the way you thought that it would. Mech poch! It is lunchtime. Here I are. Like, share, subscribe, and become a member, says Mark Malnikoff of the Klingon Empire. Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Let me take a pause right there because the Empire has arrived. Let me let you know what we got coming up for the next week, and then we'll get right back to this. Unless, of course, again, you guys have other things you would like to talk about. Please let me know. And we'll be back in just under 3 minutes.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together. This week on Live from Sparkwood and 21, we'll be watching part 2 of the series created by Mark Frost and David Lynch called On the Air. This sitcom follows the staff of a fictional 1950s television network as they produce a live variety show called The Lester Guy Show, often with disastrous results. Join us this Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
Igrorian, famed genius and scientist, has created the lethal tachyon funnel, a weapon powerful enough to blast the Federation out of the galaxy, and he's willing to do a deal with Avon and the crew. It would be a simple exchange, the ultimate weapon for the ultimate computer, Aurak. Join us for Netta's favourite Blake 7 episode, Orbit, this Tuesday at 10 Central, 11 Eastern.
This week on Netters Network, we'll be talking with our average horror fan who wants to share his love of horror, movies, figures, posters, collectibles, and his cats. It's the Horror Cat Dad, this Thursday night at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Netters Network.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, a small town is plagued by brutal killings spreading fear and suspicion through the close-knit community. Marty Koslaw, a paraplegic boy, is convinced the murders are the doings of a werewolf. Join us for Stephen King's Silver Bullet this week on Big Al Presents Films with Friends, Saturday night at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Big Al Presents.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Last Call with Troy Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it elsewhere, but Boomer and Pacelli spin it like only two old geezers can. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
Guys all saying hi to each other. I love to see that. Let me get back to this. So it's no surprise that the significant value of our portfolio is receiving increased recognition by others in the market. Zaslav added. Yeah, it's interesting that third parties are paying more attention to the value of items in your portfolio than you are, and have better ideas on how they might develop them and make them profitable. So maybe get out of the way and let people do some things. After receiving interest from multiple parties, we have initiated a comprehensive review of a strategic alternative to identify the best path forward to unlock the full value of our assets. And let's not be mistaken. If there is a sale of Warner Brothers, if Warner Brothers becomes owned by somebody else, I guarantee you that the gunverse will end. And they will again reboot or transition in some way their DC universe. I guarantee you. Because that's what happens with a merger. Or a buyout is what it sounds like this would be. It wouldn't be a merger, it would be a buyout. Someone else owns it and they come in with their own ideas. And they go, that wasn't working. I'm looking at the dollar value, and you lost money with what you were doing. We will not continue doing the thing you were doing. We need to be profitable because we just spent a crap ton of money on your company. After receiving interest from multiple parties, we have initiated comprehensive reviews of strategic alternatives to identify the best path forward to unlock the full value of our assets. You know my thoughts on that. Earlier this month, Bloomberg reported that new Paramount owner David Ellison made a $20 per share bid on Warner Brothers Discovery, which was dismissed. It is currently unclear who is making these other unsolicited bids, although David Faber at CNBC mentioned on air Tuesday that Comcast and Netflix have made inquiries. THR has, the Hollywood Review, has reached out for comment to both of those companies. Our decision to initiate this review underscores the board's commitment to considering all opportunities to determine the best value for our shareholders. Samuel A. DiPiazza, Jr., chair of Warner Brothers Discovery Board of Directors, said, "We continue to believe that our planned separation to create two distinct leading media companies will create compelling value. That said, we determined taking these actions to broaden our scope is in the best interest of shareholders." Let me say one other thing about mergers versus separations. Every time you have a merger, you need the FTC and FCC to approve that. You can't have monopoly, right? You can't have one company buy out Disney, Paramount, Warner Brothers, ABC, NBC, CBS, all these, entities. And I've actually lost track of who owns what and how many media companies there actually are because you have so many under one umbrella these days. There is a government and public interest in there being multiple companies all in competition with each other. You aren't, and we went through this at the turn of the last century with the robber barons buying up, whole industries and then saying, okay, now we will set the price. There is no market value. I decide the market value for you. You want steel? It will cost you, X thousands of dollars per pound, that's more than anyone can afford. Well, that's too bad. You want to build buildings, you better cough it up. It's a kind of extortion. And but if you have multiple companies, you go, well, he's charging you this much, I'll charge you less. Well, wait, we can do less than that. And then they go as low as they can to get your business but still make a profit. That's in your best interests. It's actually in everyone's best interests if you think about it. Same thing is true with entertainment. You don't want them to corner the market. So that's why every time there's a merger being proposed, the government has to approve. Oh yeah, we'll approve that. Don't let me get off topic on the corruption in the government that sometimes, oh yeah, you're my friend. You contributed a substantial sum to my campaign. I will make sure that this merger goes through. No, put that aside though. There is no deadline on the review. Warner Brothers Discovery is continuing to work towards its previously announced separation, which will keep its studios, HBO Max, in one bucket, led by Zaslav, and boot the basic cable channels, the Turner channels, the Discovery channels, the streamer, Discovery Plus, to a new company led by current Warner Brothers Discovery Chief Financial Officer Gunnar Weidenfeld. Interesting. A separation like that, does that mean, well, okay, now Warner Brothers is making Superman movies, so we're not going to be showing them on Discovery Plus anymore? No, what's probably going to happen is some sort of a licensing deal. We've got a good relationship with you. We trust you. You go ahead and keep those and just pay us licensing fee. And I think as you see, we've seen this. I believe this is going to be a trend in the streaming services with the whole everyone wants to corner the market. Again, this is trying to enforce that robber baron mentality. You want to watch our shows, you've got to watch our channel, you got to subscribe to us. And it's not working out because people can't afford all these different channels. So they're going, you know what, your show isn't that important to me. I'm not going to subscribe to it. Oh, we're losing revenue. We're going broke. These shows are costing more than we're making on our streaming service. What are we going to do? It was a lot better when we could just license it out to Netflix. Hey, let's split up. Let's split our streaming service off from us, and then we can license to the streaming service. That's going to help a little bit, but there's still going to be too many streaming services out there for people to own. It will be better. See, and that's where the balance comes. You don't want just one that can set the price, but you don't want so many that you can't afford them all. You want somewhere in the middle. You want a good 3-4, right? Just like when it was ABC, NBC, CBS, right? You want a good 3-4 that you can choose between that can fight with each other. That's good for everybody. If there's just one, that's bad. If there's 25 million, that's bad too. There is a sweet spot there. Hey there. Star Wade Nation. Looks like a bit of a rebranding there, Wade. I like that. That looks good. And I hope your day is magical as well. Check out Star Wade Nation and all of his channels. Make sure you're following him. He is good people. So let's start winding this down. Also on Tuesday morning, Warner Brothers Discovery announced a price hike for its HBO Max streaming service. So there's $1 extra per month per subscriber in value for a buyer. In theory, that does sound like posturing for a sale, right? Because whether or not that shows any value for HBO Max, I don't know. I don't know. A lot to ponder there, a lot to think about. Oh, I see. Star Wade Nation is specifically a channel for Star Wars gameplay. It's not a rebrand. So that's another brand in the Real Wade Nation gaming clips and Real Wade Nation brand. So like I said, make sure you're subscribing to all of those channels and check that out. Obviously, I'll be interested in looking at this. While I am not ready to put too fine a point on it, all of these rumors about James Gunn and his Gunverse are looking, if not more legit and plausible, at least I see where it's coming from. This kind of buzz tells me that everyone in the James Gunn camp understands what this means for them. It's what I just said earlier. If Warner Brothers sells, there will be big changes again in the whole DC cinematic universe. And it likely will not involve continuing with James Gunn. I mean, it depends. It depends who else they bring in and what their vision is. If they think there's some way to course correct and say to James Gunn, we're going to keep you on for some of this streaming stuff and some of these more comedic things, but you're done being in charge of it. And maybe we keep your Superman and we keep your let's face it, it's the Justice League International is what he was essentially setting up. We'll keep that, but we're going to rework it. We're going to retool it. We're going to have standalone movies based on more iconic versions of the characters. This is just me talking out of my ass, my speculation, right? What I'd like to see happen. I don't know what they're going to actually do. They may get some other numpty in here to completely reboot it and put a bunch of bull crap together and lose them money because corporate morons don't know how to use their brains anymore. Salute to you, Deleted Scenes. He says, hail to all. Surprise day off. Using it to run errands, listening in from the road at double speed. So I sound like a chipmunk. Well, I noticed the other day, listening to older clips of myself and current clips of myself, generally I tend to talk slower than I used to and in a deeper timbre, which probably works out better for people that are watching on high speed. Perhaps. I don't know. Maybe. Wade says, like non-modern Star Wars, except the last Lego Star Wars gameplay. Maybe. Yeah, I hear you. Thank you very much. Congrats on 1.67. I am working to get myself up to 2,000 by the end of the year. And remember, guys, all of you can help. Double check, make sure you're subscribed, and then share me out on your socials and tell your friends about me. Say, hey, go subscribe to this guy. He might be worth checking out. I mean, I'm assuming if you're here, you probably think I'm worth checking out. So, might be worthwhile to get some other eyeballs in here. The more the merrier. Rising tide raises all ships. So yeah, I'm kind of done with the whole Gunverse. I have no interest anymore. I've seen where it's going and I don't like it. I can't remember if it was someone that was commenting on one of my videos, maybe it was someone in the chat, or if it was on another channel, made a comment that I thought was very interesting. Fans don't want the grim dark of the Snyderverse, but they don't want the, slapstickishly goofy, of James Gunn. Somewhere in the middle is the sweet spot. And if you want to know what that looks like, look back at the history of the comics, you know, and see what was popular and what people loved and what people. Yes, you can make arguments with your cherry picking and saying, yes, at this one point, Batman carried a gun, and at this point, Superman killed people on a regular basis. Yeah, if you go back far enough. You can also find, you know, attempted reboots where Superman killed somebody, and then what his own reaction to that was. But you look at the preponderance and say, yeah, but those were the exceptions more than the rule. When things change in comics, you don't use that as the example and say, that change happened so I can do this. No, you don't just look at the change. You look at what changed and did it stick, and why didn't it stick? They're not putting enough thought into it. During the John Byrne era, there was a storyline where he executed the 3 Phantom Zone villains. People have retroactively gone back and said, oh, that was the story from Superman 2. He killed those Phantom Zoners. No, he did not. The two are not the same. It is very, very clear from the preponderance of evidence that the overt story and the implied story was not that he killed them. He depowered them and they were re-imprisoned. Bad editing is you see them disappear into smoke and you don't know what happens to them. And you might believe they died. But when you see the television edit and you see them being hauled off by human police, it's very clear the intent was they are being re-imprisoned. It was an era where they never got into little details. In the modern day, if the Superman 78 film was remade exactly the way it was, you would have had a line where Lois says, so what happened to those Kryptonians? I send them back to the Phantom Zone. Boom. Because that's what would happen in the comics, you know? But, you know, be that as it may, we have filmmakers that not only don't bother to pay attention to the source material, they go and do a Google search to justify an exception. We saw it with Fantastic Four. We want to race swap, or we want to gender swap the Silver Surfer. Oh, well, here's an example where there was a female Silver Surfer. Okay, well, we'll just use her. Without paying attention to why she existed, why she doesn't still exist in the comics, and what the preponderance of story was. And it didn't pay out well for them, right? Trying to justify Superman killing, all that does is drive away half your audience. I mean, if that's what you want, if you feel justified in playing to only half your audience, good, go for it. I think it's attributed to Abraham Lincoln, although I don't know if he actually said it. You can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time. Words to that effect, and that's pretty much true. But you do try to please as many people as you can when you are in business. And it requires some thought, just like walking a tightrope. It requires a balancing act. But they're not willing to put in that kind of effort. Sorry I'm late. I just got back from the doctor's appointment. I hope you got a clean bill of health, my friend. I am going to start winding down, so I'd love to hear that you are doing well. That's all I'm really concerned about. You can always catch up on the rewatch. And just remember that the next thing up is tonight at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. We're going to watch the last half of the only season of the Lester Guy Show. No, the Lester Guy Show is the show within the show on the air. I found it very funny. Bizarre, David Lynchian goofy, but a lot of fun. I had some really good laughs from it. followed by Netter's favorite episode of Blake 7 called Orbit. There's only 2 episodes after tonight's episode, so we're going to be ending Blake 7 pretty soon. So you'll want to. These last 3 episodes are pretty intense. The last one incredibly intense. But stick with us, and look forward to Friday. We're going to get a little spooky with some real world, potentially supernatural stories. And that, my friends, is it. Blood pressure is a little too high. Not giving medical advice, my friend, but do your research on that. Many physicians are starting to question the institutionalized definitions for what high and low blood pressure are, and the role that blood pressure plays in our health. So if your doctor is saying your blood pressure is too high and is saying that in a vacuum, they're just looking at a number and deciding that, stay away. Again, this is not medical advice. I am not a medical doctor. Look into this for yourself. But I have strong reservations and concerns about blood pressure medications, statins and the like, the role of cholesterol in our diets and in our lives. Just because a doctor says it, always question. Do your research. Like, share, subscribe, comment, become a member. Make you feel like super chat $5 or more, just a gift membership instead. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. If you were thinking about doing a super chat, I'm pretty good about catching your comments and sharing them. If I'm not, especially on a slow day, maybe think if there might be a reason for that. But super chat's a great way to get my attention, but a gifted membership will help grow the community and bring someone else in, and maybe they'll thank you. Maybe there's a little good karma that goes into that. Oh, I knew Big Al would come through for me. You can please some of the people all of the time. That was pretty prophetic, right? Because we've seen on social media, there are absolutely people that are like trained seals. If certain people say something, they're happy. I like the thing they said, so I believe it 100%, and I'm going to reshare it. You can please some of the people all the time. Those are usually dumb people. You can please all of the people some of the time. That makes perfect sense. But you can't please all of the people all of the time. Attributed to the poet John Lydgate. Okay, that's fair. I had heard it attributed to Lincoln. I wouldn't be surprised if Lincoln didn't quote it, depending on, when it was popularized by Lydgate. So, look, knowing who said something is far less important than recognizing the wisdom of a truism. People like to say, well, so-and-so said that, so it must not be true. Well, guess what? I don't care what you think about the president or his staff or a particular commentator or an evil dictator from history. If what they said is true, take it on the merits. Okay? The truth is the truth regardless of who says it. And there is Nate actually gifting a membership specifically. This is not only does he practices what he preaches, right? He said it and then he does it. And that went to F. Wood, who received that gifted membership. We have just grown our membership pool by 1. And I'm hoping to get to 200 by the end of the year. Actually, I'd be happy to get to 100. I misspoke. I meant 100. I want to get to 100. But if we get to 200 by the end of the year, I am certainly not going to complain, because that would have been my next goal. Tried to mow the lawn, but the rain said no. Yeah, see, that's another one that I've heard different things about. So, like, for example, we have a service that comes out and does our lawn for us, and they got these big ass machines, and they're going to do it rain or shine. I guess if your machine is powerful enough, you can do that and get away with it. I think I know when I used a smaller mower, it would just get plugged up if the grass was wet, so you couldn't do that. Yep, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Hey Troy, have you seen Tron Ares? Are you planning to go see it? No. I think it is as much an insult to what went before it as the Disney Star Wars is to Star Wars. I am not going to go just see a thing just because it's got the name slapped on it. And that's literally what this is. This is Tron without Tron. They should have just called it Ares. Because, like I said yesterday, this is like Ian Malcolm. Hello? Are there going to be any dinosaurs on your dinosaur ride? Hey, is there going to be any Tron in your Tron movie? Just asking, Yes, I agree. Superman was meh. It was absolutely meh. I've done a couple videos about what was wrong with it. My DCU is dark, but not Snyder dark, but not too goofy. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There should be some dark stories in the DC universe. There should also be some very bright, hopeful stories. And understanding when to do what and finding the balance. The DC universe is not all nails that need to be hammered in. There are screws and joins and gussets and gluing to be done, and all the tools need to be used. You need to be intelligent enough to identify the right one. I have a small amount of grass, but I refuse to be cold and wet. 54 degrees. Okay, so you're right in, I don't know whereabouts you live, Dean, but it sounds like you're having very similar weather to us here in the Midwest. So I get that. So tired of remakes, reimagines, or reinterpretations. Make a new movie that does not try to market from an older one. Yeah, there are very few instances that I think do that and do it well. I will continue to say that I think Ghostbusters course corrected and did well to continue their franchise. I have recently had a realization about change in medium. What I mean by that is like taking books and comic books, turning them into movies, and or turning them into TV series, and how they need to be handled. And I will probably do a separate video or a Friday night stream about it. Something that really changed my thinking about franchise management. Anyway, I'm sorry. I've kept you guys a little too late. You guys should get back to work. I need to get back to work. And tonight over on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates, live from Sparkwood and 21, followed by Blake 7. I want to thank you guys all so much. I'm almost out of my martini. F. Woods, this doesn't happen very often. I am so glad. F. Woods, you were just gifted a membership to the channel by Geek Flag with Nate Knows. So you are a member for a month. For you and for those who are not members who want to know, membership includes every Monday night at 8 o'clock Central, Members Night at the Movies, an exclusive stream of a film chosen by the members. So if you were to go to the community tab right now on my YouTube channel, there is a poll up for next Monday's Monday night movie. It's 3 movies in the Halloween theme, all starting with the letter T, just by coincidence. So go and vote and let us know which one you'd like to see. Hopefully you can join us on Monday. There are other memberships. Make sure you check out the membership perks. It's always worth checking out. Yeah, so there you go. And anyway, welcome, F. Wood. Hope to see you around a lot more. We will talk a whole lot more. Letter T. I'm listening to Tim Curry. Worst Witch. Interesting. There you go. There you go. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for stopping in, F. Wood. Newest member to the channel. I'm sorry your name won't be in the closing credits because you just became a member, but in my next stream, in fact, which is Blake 7 tonight, your name will appear in those credits. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thank you, Nate, for gifting that membership to F. Wood. And take care, all. We will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.